Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Today I have got some garden tasks that I need to get done. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start this video off, we are dividing these chitted potatoes. These potatoes specifically are from my local grocery store and they chitted before we could eat them. So these guys I am going to divide, leaving at least two eyes on each section. Then I'm going to allow them to dry out for a couple days before planting. This next set of potatoes are potatoes that I got from Lowe's. These are called blue, even though they look more purplish. Now these are seed potatoes. That means that they are cultivated especially for you to bring into your garden and grow from seed. However, you see that I'm using potatoes that I got from the grocery store. You can do a mixture of both. It's totally up to you. It's your garden. You do whatever you want to. So again, we are cutting around the eyes. We want to have at least 1 to 2 per section and allow that each section to dry out before planting. Now we'll allow these potatoes to callus over for 2 to 3 days. These Aldi tulips have had the best spring ever. They have provided me with so much happiness every time I come outside to look at them. And I allowed them to stay in this bed for as long as possible, but now their petals are falling off. So I figure it's time to go ahead and pull them out. Now, I haven't had great success with tulips as far as, you know, the first year you plant them, they do great that first spring. And then each following spring, they kind of either show up or they don't. So I'm going to go ahead and allow these to dry out and replant them in the fall to see if the following spring 2025 that they come back up for me. If not, then they'll just make great compost in the soil. I've already told myself that I will definitely be planting this bed up again with spring flowering bulbs this fall. Like, this was just way too pretty to only do it one time. Now that we've got the tulips out, it is time to plant nasturtium. I love nasturtium. I plant nasturtium every single year in my garden. Now, I don't plant it to actually like eat it because I find it to be very spicy. Now, I like spice, but this is like, you know, like when you over pepper your food, you know, like the pepper grinder, and you use way too much pepper. That's what it reminds me of. So I just grow it around the edges of my garden beds, and it trails out and it's absolutely gorgeous. Before I plant this bed, I am going to add a little bit of compost to this area just in case, you know, those tulips drained any of the, I want to say, nutrition from the soil. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this cow manure because I have it on hand. Planting nasturtium is so easy. All I'm going to do is just poke a hole in the soil that's about, you know, maybe an inch deep, and plant one seed in, and then I'm going to do that all around the edge, the front edge of this bed. In the past, I used to start my nasturtiums indoors, and then I found that each year they would pop up in the garden, they would reseed themselves. So I'm like, why am I doing all this work when they can grow in cooler soil temperatures? So I decided about 3 years ago that I am not going to be soaking any seeds. I'm not going to scar any more seeds. I am just going to plant them directly in the beds. And, you know, you got to wait a few weeks, but they start popping up. And then by July, you've got nice bushes of nasturtium, depending on which variety you plant. And then in August, they're trailing, they're going crazy in the garden, and they look absolutely stunning. We're doing the same thing on this side, using our finger to pop a hole, put a seed in, and close that hole up. I'm planting in every bed that has a side that faces a walkway. So this bed, and then you saw me plant the other beds, they all face a walkway. Any beds that are facing internally into the, you know, farther into the garden, I'm not going to do that because the nasturtiums do take up a lot of space once they start trailing all over the place, and I need to have my walking areas clear. So these beds are far enough from the sidewalk that I can plant them, let the nasturtium go crazy, and it would be so beautiful all summer. Now that my nasturtium is planted, I'm going to plant up these pansies that I got from Lowe's on clearance. I am super excited. So let me tell you about my soil mix. I'm using Earth Science earthworm casings. They actually sent this bag to me. Thank you, Earth Science. I'm using Pro Mix, my favorite soil, and vermiculite. I feel like this mixture will be a great mix for the pansies all summer long. Now, I will come through with liquid fertilizer throughout the season, but the earthworm casings will break down over the season and also feed the plant. You want to do a double dose in fertilizer. So something granular that will break down slowly over the season and gradually feed your plants. And then you also want to do some liquid fertilizers that can give your plants those little boosts while they're waiting for the granular fertilizer. So typically, I fertilize once a week or once every 2 weeks. Just depends on what's going on in my life, because sometimes it's hard to just get out there and make sure everything in the garden is fertilized. So if I'm keeping things watered, that's great. So right now I'm just mixing up my soil mix right in the pots. I've got everything going in mixed perfectly in this bottom portion of the soil. This is where the roots are going to go down. They're going to go down and get that those worm casings, and then the vermiculite is going to keep that soil extra moist down there. Now, I love using Pro Mix. A lot of times I don't add a lot to it. It just depends on what I'm planting. But I could have planted these in straight Pro Mix and they would have been fine. But I like to add a little extra to my soil just to be helpful to the plants, because sometimes I might forget to go out with the liquid fertilizer and feed. So they've got worm casings in there. If I forget to water, they've got that vermiculite that holds moisture and will keep that soil moist for longer. So it's just a good idea with your containers to jazz them up a bit. These planters will hang right on my herb garden bed. I love them here. They look beautiful. I do this setup every single year. I decided to move my elephant ears who were in the screened-in porch out into the back area of the garden. This area is in shade most of the day, so they'll be able to transition really well back in this space. Would you believe this is all the elephant ears that I'm growing this year? I have definitely cut way back on them just because I don't like spider mites. Ugh, pests are so annoying. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave them in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.